Hi, everyone. My name is Charlsie Baldwin. I'm one of the co-founders at Twin Legacy Solutions, and we have a podcast called The Future Proof Leader, where we bring in leaders and we talk about what's going on in the market and the industry today, really leaning into AI and how it's kind of impacting leaders and the industry and how leaders can lean into that. So today we have another awesome guest speaker here. We have Jennifer Mulchandani. Did I pronounce it right? Mulchandani.
Perfect. Yes, you did.
Founder and CEO of Arlington Strategy. So, Jennifer, thanks so much for being here with us today. I'm really excited to just kind of pick your brain on the market, and I'd love if you could just kind of introduce yourself and what Arlington Strategy is all about.
Well, thank you, Charles. See, it's great to be here and have this conversation. Um, I am the founder and CEO of a small boutique agency serving the greater Washington, D.C. market. We work with nonprofits and small businesses at every stage of growth, handling everything from brand creation to day-to-day ongoing outsourced marketing needs. So if it's a tactic that falls under marketing, our agency does it. So it's pretty comprehensive. Um, yeah.
Um, So as we kind of dive into marketing and what's going on in the industry, you obviously are in a very populated area, so I think there's probably a lot of change in a big city like that in the DC metro. Can you just kind of talk about what's the biggest shift that you're seeing in the businesses that you're working with related to marketing in the last like 12 to 18 months?
Yeah, I mean the two biggest things, and I know we're going to talk a lot about AI today, but one is just economic factors, right? The DC metro market is our stable industry is federal government spending, which has shifted a lot in recent times, which has a ripple effect in the down market, right? So we're serving more, we're not in the GovCon space or the federal space at all, but our clients are usually consumer facing brands and they're luxury brands often. And so with economic downturn, you have business pressure. So that raises the stakes, I think, for where marketing investments go and the need for, looking at marketing full funnel and not, the belts are tighter. So there is pressure in terms of how we work with our clients to stay the course and keep marketing and not overreact in this marketplace. So that's been, it's part of the challenge of running a business. But in marketing, it's for a lot of organizations and businesses, it becomes a place they look to cut really early when they're reacting to the market. So that's one big shift that we're constantly dealing with.
Mhm.
Um, and then AI being, the disruptor of the possibly century,
Mhm.
only time will tell. Um, as something that is inherently built into many of the tools that we as an agency would use, tools that were kind of predate the AI boom.
Mhm.
But now AI being both a buzzword, but also a power source for making things work. I've found myself shift over the years. I've been running this business for 14 years. Like we're very technology focused. I never would have said, "Oh yeah, like I'm in the tech industry." Like you kind of have to be, not hardware, but like to do marketing
Right.
these days, you have to be able to adapt and evolve with on the technology side, which is depending on the person in the day, could be really exciting and fun and challenging, or it can be like another day, another change, another adaptation that we have to kind of manage.
Right. You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable with change nowadays, especially just the
100%. Yeah,
the rate that it's evolving. It's daily, right? There's something new pretty much every day. So
that's right.
you got to get on board and start to learn it. Um,
Yeah.
you use the word "don't overreact to the market." I love that because what you were just describing really resonates with the stock market, right? Like when it's down,
Hmm.
don't overreact and sell everything off and just stop, right? Like you have to ride the wave and wait it out. And
Hmm.
marketing and having that pipeline always on is if you don't have that, right, you're gonna run out of leads, you're gonna run out of sales, you're gonna stop selling, and then your business is gonna dry up. So it's one of those things that I think a lot of people, like you mentioned, that's the first place people want to make cuts, but it affects so much of your business if that's where you go.
Yeah, it really does. And I think the lessons that, small businesses learned during the COVID challenge, which in itself was like a historic challenge
Right.
economically and otherwise, um, the organization, the businesses that came out the other side are the ones that really focused on fundamentals, right? Adapted to what their consumer was demanding, reached their consumers in new, innovative ways to tell their story and attract a crowd. All of that is when you're scared, when you react scared, your
Hmm.
business cannot sustain and grow. So yeah, but marketing is not like some clients think it's like a button, right? Like, let's turn up the volume,
Right.
okay, let's add a little money to what we're doing and like let's make it all happen. And it isn't like a thermostat. You can't just push a button and all of a sudden marketing is working. And it's the whole concept is built in keeping your brand in front of your audience. And so it takes a sustained effort. You can't disappear
Right.
and come back and just pick up where you left off.
Right. You can't flip the switch. Does not
Yep.
work that way.
Yep.
So there's a lot of noise around AI, especially in marketing. And
hmm
everyone is talking about it, but not everybody is using it or using it well. What are you actually seeing clients do with AI that you think is moving the needle versus what is either just waste or not working?
Yeah. So it's interesting. Like, it's more what are we employing on behalf of our clients as opposed to what the clients are doing because we're delivering, different types of marketing services. Um, I'll tell you what. Well, that's not true. We've seen some clients who are like, "Oh, well, we'll do the blog writing because now we'll just have AI write it, right?" And I've seen that, and you know, and it has nothing to do with I would rather them be paying me to write their blogs, but it's that is a bad thing, I think, when it comes to marketing and branding, because if we pull the curtain way back, like what is the point of content marketing, content strategy? That's what blogging is, to draw people to your brand, build authority, reputation, help tell a technical story that you can't. It has all these different purposes. Um, but at the end of the day, like your content needs to set you apart. It needs to show
Yeah.
your value proposition. It needs to sound like your brand. It needs to be your brand. And when with all of the sort of click a button content generation happening at this point, is it looks and sounds like AI did it.
Yeah.
And so then you aren't standing out, you're just adding to the noise. And so I think what I see happening and where the opportunity is to like really walk that line, be the separator to say you can use AI tools, and we certainly do. We will use AI to generate an idea list or prompts for us or some questions that we then write and answer to like framing. It can be very helpful. It also can be a wonderful feedback tool to tell you how the messaging lands or what audience this would be more appropriate for. So there's all this wonderful sort of capacity in it. Um, but I don't think the typical small business person who's doing it themselves and just hits a button thinks about it that way. They think
Mhm.
about having it do the work for them. And that's for those who take the extra effort with their content strategy and actually think of it as a strategy as opposed to just needing more keywords on your website. Um, that's where I think the opportunity to actually elevate and show your value. So that's I always look for like what's not working, but like what does it mean for those who want to do it right?
Yeah, we use a phrase HI plus AI. I'm sure that's we didn't come up with that. I'm sure you've heard it before, but the human intelligence side plus AI
hmm
is how you use this in a way that can enhance not just you as an individual, but your business. We just
Totally.
brought on a client just this week actually who they only went with us because one of their qualifying questions to us was how do you use AI? And if the answer was we use it to write all of our ad copy or to do this or that, like we would have lost that client because they want a human to be involved still. Do
hmm
you run into that as well, where you see clients where they're almost like asking you not to use AI, essentially?
I'm getting more and more
Yeah.
questions around sort of, you know, some of it's like just discomfort. We work with some clients who are in the health space, so there's HIPAA concerns and there's there's technical issues and uh, kind of getting things right really, really, really matters to them.
Mhm.
And we've seen a lot come out that's really, really wrong when you
Yeah.
lean on AI too much. So they're starting to more and more are asking the questions around it, not from a they're it's not that they're worried that like they're paying us to use AI, but I think they're wanting to make sure that we have our own guardrails around quality
Mhm.
and ensuring that what we're putting out in their name or on on behalf of their brand is is not just being handled by a non-human.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Do you have any like recommended tools that you use a lot or that you think are underused maybe that you keep finding yourself like recommending to either like internally if that's something you're comfortable sharing or even with your clients, something that they could be leveraging internally?
Yeah, it's I mentioned earlier, it's like all the tools that we probably any business sort of is already paying for is
Yeah.
whether or not it's truly leaning on machine learning or AI models or whatever. Everyone's claiming like they're built-in AI and all this stuff. Um, so some of it is just really understanding like what is that. But I'll tell you, like at the end of the day, one of the most used tools in my toolbox is Grammarly Pro, which has AI built in, and you really can control a lot of elements around my voice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so when it's grammar checking and suggesting better ways for
Mm-hmm.
me to phrase something, it's doing it based on my own parameters and my own context and it's learning from me. So that's it's important to be professional. I'm still old school where I use punctuation and capital letters and all that kind of stuff in my business communication. So I think that kind of tool is often forgotten about because spell check's built into a lot of other things. But it's a power tool in my mind that
Mm-hmm.
in a communication role helps us be better communicators. So I do love that. And then honestly, like internally, we're on the Google business platform, if you will. So it
Yeah.
has Gemini built in,
Mm-hmm.
just really using it more and more to help us. Like again, 14 years of business. That's a
Yeah.
lot of
That's a lot of experience.
history.
Yeah.
And so keyword search, I hate keyword search in my own file system. It's limited. But using the Gemini features in Google, it instantly can help me. I know I did a proposal years and years ago, and it was this kind of business, and I think it included ABC, or I'm looking for all the proposals where I may have talked about like this idea, where I know the idea, but I have no idea what word I would have used. So I can't find it using keyword. I don't know the timeline. And it instantly is reading my internal. So it's like from a knowledge management perspective, which for small business, that setting up true knowledge management systems, right? Like my own internal help desk is nearly impossible. I'm not going to invest in that for a small team like ours.
Right.
But this really gives us access to that kind of information, which is can be, I think, even more transformational once we even tap into using it better and using it more.
Hmm. Yeah, I think what you just said there with in terms of how accessible AI tools are, I think that's the game changer, right? Like
Yeah.
we've worked in big industries like logistics, warehouses, where they have these really bulky ERP or warehouse management systems, and those cost hundreds of thousands, right, to
Hmm.
install these things. And only like the big players can afford that, right? So if you're a
Yeah.
smaller boutique or trying to start something, it was not achievable or reachable before, right? But
Yeah.
now there's so
Yeah.
many tools across pretty much any need that you have, whether it's marketing or admin, right? Like staying organized in the background. Finance is a big one, right? We see a lot of tools to help with accounting. It's
Hmm.
just a game changer. It's making
It
it
really,
more accessible for everyday people.
yeah. The other thing I've been playing with for me as a business leader is in my AI tool is I will have discussions around problems I'm trying to solve in my business. Like
Yep.
here's what I'm grappling with, you know.
Mm-hmm.
there's 10 ways to Sunday I could probably start working on this. And it's like, what should be my order of help me think.
Yeah.
And so then it's getting the tools asking me clarifying questions and helping me, well, is your priority this or is your priority this? And based on that, well, then that changes your uh what you can be focused on. So it's like those, it's having a resource when, it's not always going to make sense to have. I don't have a board of advisors in my
Mm-hmm.
business. I have professionals that I have on my greater team to help me do my business. But, as a leader, sometimes just having sophisticated tool to really work out problems.
Right.
So I feel like that's just been, that could be a game changer too. And also crunching data. My goodness, it's like instant.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want to I have a bookkeeper. I don't need to have a conversation with my bookkeeper when I just really want to understand like how has this thing gone up in price over the years, or how
Yeah.
much am I overpaying for my insurance? Like
Right.
you can ask all kinds of questions that and get such wonderful data back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
I
like
love
that.
it.
Yeah.
And we're seeing a lot of the clients we work with are coaches, leadership coaches, executive coaches, you name it. And there's a lot of tools there too, right? Like what you
Hmm.
were just describing, where you can lean into it for advice on solving problems. You can do that for coaching too. And it's just
Hmm.
and to make sure we don't get replaced by AI, right? We have to lean into that as the business owners of how can we leverage the tools out there that are, let's say I'm a coach, how can I leverage the AI coaching tools to enhance my business instead of be replaced by it?
Yeah. And I mean, I think at the end of the day, and this is this is not my idea by any stretch, but people want to do business with people. They
Yeah,
don't want to do business with, you
robots.
know, robots. I mean, there are things I do want to do business with a robot, right? Like, paying for parking, like I don't mind, like tap and go, right? So there are places where technology doesn't disrupt, I think, the human relationship. But I think for a lot of like whether it's for coaches or for other, all these other industries that serve,
Hmm.
um, if ultimately we can have a society of automatons or we can have a society of humans who are maybe free to do more creative work or creative
Hmm.
problem solving or thinking, coaches leveraging these tools so that they can maybe go deeper faster with their clients rather than, all the discovery work that might be slow and tedious. Maybe AI can help with some of that, right? So there's ways of like we can actually be more productive, but not in a just simple output of widgets way, but in a, thought way or creative way, or use the AI to sort of frame problems totally different, right? I,
Right,
so I think that keeping in mind that humans are really driven by emotional connection.
right.
People like to do business with brands that represent them, that they see themselves in, whether it's a
Hmm.
brand because that supports like, animals or a brand that, gives back to the environment. Like these kinds of like things are because we're emotionally connected to wanting to do business with things that we see ourselves reflected in. And so all the AI in the world, at the end of the day um, is not going to give you that human feeling, that connection. And
Hmm.
so I think that's the value that individual providers or brands or services can do is they have to lean into their people. And in a
Hmm.
way, what an opportunity for us to be as a society where we are more people focused.
Hmm.
Like, it's sort of like since the Industrial Revolution, there's been all this worry about how the changing nature of work, people are getting put out of work,
Hmm.
and on all this move towards like it's a reduction in jobs. But I think now it could be a resurgence of people, and how can they bridge that
Right.
gap?
And there's gonna be new jobs that come out of it too. Yeah, there might be some reduction, of course, but
Hmm.
enhancing and just shifting focus of those you do have so that you can get more done with less, right?
Yeah,
So
totally.
as we start to kind of wrap up here, I'd love just your look into the future, right? What does the crystal ball say? What are you thinking in 12, 18 months from now? How is AI going to impact marketing, right? Like what do you see as the next big thing in your industry?
I mean, I think on the ad side is where the like this huge change is happening. ads management has, used to be extraordinarily manual.
Mm,
You know, you have ad buyers who have relationships and sort of sources to place, whether it's print or television or radio, or now we're in Google search display and all of that. Um, all of the ad platforms are leveraging AI. So like it's kind of taking all of these disparate systems, and I think I'm already seeing it. There's service providers that are aggregators now, kind of like, looking for your travel deal
hmm
in one place. Like I think being able to place ads through a sort of sole provider who's going to be your aggregator,
hmm
um, potentially, is an opportunity there, but also just the less manual tedium of ads management, because in Meta and in Google, like being able to let the AI agents um, recommend the tweaks and changes and improvements and do the A/B testing like faster, and
Yeah.
there's some are really wary that it's all in the name of getting more money into those platforms, which I don't doubt is an underlying motivation, but maybe it could be win-win. You can get more money into them, but if the advertiser, if our clients are getting better outputs from it too, like that's not a bad thing.
Right.
If we can have better performing marketing because the
Right.
AI tools are helping us. So I think that's the most sort of like in front of me right now that I see
Right.
changing every time we open up one of these tools.
I love it. Awesome. Well, this was a great conversation. I just love hearing about your industry specifically, right? And how it's impacting marketing and where you kind of see it going in the future. I think you had some really good insights. So thank you so much, Jennifer, for joining today and just
So
sharing
much
with us.
fun.
I wish you the best of luck and
Thank you,
you know,
Charlsie. You too.
14 years of running Arlington Strategy is super impressive to for any business to last that long is just super impressive. So obviously you're doing something right, and I
Well,
appreciate you
thank
taking
you.
the time to talk with us today.
I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, best of luck and take care.
Thank you too.